Everybody, thanks for watching. And just a quick reminder that the real law of attraction is now available. Make sure you guys take advantage of this. This is a pretty deep video. It's going to require you to have some prerequisite knowledge. So when you get this video, it will come with 2 other videos. Some of you may have them already. It will come with Voodoo Volume 1. It will also come with Meditation Volume 1. So it's a lot of information in this video I want you guys to understand and grasp. Those 2 videos will help you understand a lot better. Also, as I have mentioned in the last video, Merkabah Academy will launch on Christmas Day. The new site, the new app will launch on Christmas Day. There will be Merkabah Academy and Merkabah Academy Pro for, entrepreneurs and business owners, anyone who is interested in the stock market and has been investing. You will want that app. If you are a lifetime member, you will get that app free, or it will cost $2.99 in the App Store if you are not. But if you are an entrepreneur, you own a small business, you want to take advantage of this app. If you are trying to become an entrepreneur, there's going to be a lot of stuff in here for you. A lot of you guys, I get a lot of emails from people. People are losing their jobs. People are not trying to take the vaccine. So a lot of people are looking for alternative ways to basically make income and find new ways to become successful. So in this app, there will be a lot of new things for you guys. A lot of information. And again, when you get the app, make sure you guys turn on the alerts, because you're going to want to get updates when stuff comes out, especially for stocks and investments or what have you. So yes, Christmas Day will launch. The new site will launch. The new app will launch on Christmas Day. As a result, as I said, there are more spots open for a lifetime membership. It is closing fast. This is the last week also for the Merkabah catalog. This last weekend. It will be done tomorrow. Make sure you guys take advantage of that. And also make sure you guys take advantage of the lifetime memberships. It's not supposed to be back up. I left a lot of this stuff up on the site because if you actually wanted, people who actually wanted it, I expected them to go to the site and look for it. So if you've seen it on the site before, it will not be up there anymore after this week. Take advantage of it. It will be gone. Those spots for lifetime membership, lifetime digital downloads, take advantage of it. I see a lot of you guys are. But those spots will fill up quick, and that will be it. So new site will launch. The new app will launch Christmas Day. It's going to be great. We're going to start to get into that information soon. A video will launch on Christmas Day as well. Me explaining the new site and going over it. So stay tuned for that. It's a lot. There's a lot of the information you guys have been asking me for. And one of the main things I wanted to help people understand is what you qualify for, as I talked about in the last video. If you get your business license, you get your LLC or what have you, get your business set up and structured correctly. Make sure you got your business plan. Make sure you have a grant proposal that can be edited to fit any funding sources. So we're going to go through all that. I'm going to give tutorials on how to do a proper business plan and grant proposal, because I haven't seen anyone that I was satisfied with online and or YouTube, but I have done this. I do this all the time. I've gotten many grants. My last name is Grant, so they'll probably help me out. But I'm going to really go through this because I know what they're looking for. I have got those letters back, those rejection letters. I know what they want. So we're going to go through this. Also, for you people who have lost jobs because of Corona, and it's a lot of stuff they're not telling you people that you still qualify for. When Biden put out the plan, the bill, and signed for people to get unemployment and extended the unemployment, there's a lot of gray areas for people to take advantage of if you have a business or if you are in school and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of stuff we're going to touch on when we get into this, because it's something that I have to put, it's paperwork that I have to show you guys and all kinds of stuff. So we're going to get into a lot of stuff, and I want to get you guys into the correct understanding and how to, basically take advantage of the system and the stuff that's out there for you. Especially if you are a business, a struggling business or a growing business. If you are trying to start up, if you have no money at all, there are ways of getting money. I told you guys before, I literally opened my recording studio in Philly with nothing. I had like fucking $230, but I opened it with grant money. Got about $60,000-$70,000 in grant money, did everything I had to do. And, you don't have to pay back grant money. So, it's a lot of funding sources out there. The information has changed. It's not the same. And it's a little bit more, difficult as far as how you're going to prepare your proposal and how the many different funding sources, want you to prepare your proposal for them. So as I said, stuff we'll get into. And this law of attraction DVD, this video, again, it's going to go over a lot of people's heads. It's a deep video, which is why I included the other two videos to give you a little bit more understanding. It's deep, and it's stuff that, you know, a lot of people send me questions about this. It's one of the main questions I get from a lot of religious people, because if you understand the Bible, which we get into in the video, it's really giving you a lot of the law of attraction. And this is not something that's spooky. You know, I don't deal with none of that. It's something that you have to understand that you use every single day, and you don't have any clue of what you're doing and how you're doing it. And you have to understand little gray areas and how things are done and how people are able to attract certain things to them. Not just that, why certain things are set up certain ways. And there is a pattern to success. There's an energy to it. And we tap into it a lot. We tap into many things all the time, and we don't understand it. To us, it just seems normal. It's what I talked to you guys before about human energy and how we use it and how things just seem normal to us, how feelings and emotions are energies. And to us, it's just our feelings and emotions. And we got into this deeply in Meditation 1, which is why I included it. But it's one of those things where you have to understand a lot of different stuff for you to grasp this, which is why I included those videos. So make sure you guys take advantage of that and get that. I don't usually do stuff like that, including three videos, but this is good. So make sure you guys take advantage of it. But let's get into this video. So I've put out a lot of information on the Bible, history. And again, that's the biggest key to all of this, is just understanding the history. One of the things I forget sometimes is people don't do research. People just really, they go based off of what you put out, or a lot of people who talk about primary sources and so on and so forth. Always ask Christians that, you know, did you ask for a primary source for talking snakes and donkeys in the Bible? No, you didn't. Did you ask the preacher how a man, you know, named Samson has long hair? Because he has long hair, he has superhuman strength. Did you ask for primary sources on that? No, they didn't. There's so much stuff in the Bible that Christians and Hebrews choose to believe. And then when we come with anything that's factual, that's, you know, solid, primary source, you know, where's your sources? But they have not asked for sources for talking snakes and donkeys. Somebody actually tried to prove to me how, you know, snakes could possibly talk. So this is how far Christians go when they try to explain the Bible. But the topic of this, of course, is getting into Serapis. And it's one of the things that always kills the Bible is just common sense, critical thinking. Now, when it comes to the worship of Serapis and understanding who Serapis is, one, you got to understand the timeline. The timeline, we talk between the 4th and 3rd century BCE, we should say. And did Serapis exist when the Egyptians had control over Egypt? The question is no. That's a very important question to ask. Did Serapis exist before the fall of Kemet? No. Did Zeus Ammon exist before the fall of Kemet? No, they did not. These questions are important. Why? Because it shows that when the Greeks took over and conquered Kemet, they had already gave us, or tried to force on us, the worship of a white god, a god that looked like them. So we know about Zeus already. And then they gave us Zeus Ammon, piggybacking on Ammon, the Egyptian god. So we have that. You see, he has the ram's horns on the head. I showed you guys when I was in the Cairo Museum, both the statue of Zeus Ammon and also Serapis Christos. I talked about Frank Gaudio many times, the French explorer who found the sunken city of Heraklion, Tunis, right off the coast of Alexandria, Egypt. And he pulled up, you know, multiple statues of Serapis. So we also know for a fact, you know, this is, you know, statues is in museums. He's depicted in many different ways. And when you look at these depictions, he looks like Jesus Christ. We can find him carrying the staff. We can find him with the lamb. We can find him with the same toga type, you know, clothing that we see Jesus with, and the face is spot on. The point is to give, you know, evidence that there is a man who looks like Jesus that existed before Christianity that was forced on African people, on the black people of Kemet by the name of Serapis and by Zeus Ammon. There are other guys as well showing us that they tried to get us to worship white gods. We've seen the statues of the Ptolemies, that once they conquered Egypt, they started to dress like the Egyptians. They made the Egyptians write hieroglyphs of them and put them on the wall. We've seen with Alexander. We've seen with Ptolemy. So we see this. We have this evidence. This is real evidence that's not debated on at all. It's still there. We still see the statues. We have this evidence of the Greeks forcing the worship of gods that look like them on black people. Again, did these gods exist before the fall of Kemet? No. Were they dressing like the Egyptians before the fall of Kemet? No. So that shows us, that tells us clear as day, they were trying to get us to worship them as gods, gods in their image. This is important because you have to ask yourself, why did you wait till the fall of Kemet to give us these gods? Why did you wait till the fall of Kemet to give us these, these beings to worship? Why are you trying to force these beings on us? And who were they trying to force them on? Obviously, if they wanted their people to worship these gods, they would have, instilled them long before the fall of Kemet, but they didn't do this. So this gives validity to what I was saying. The problem is people have a problem with this whole, history, and it's a proven history. So again, you had the fall of Kemet by the Greeks. We have the Greeks trying to force the Egyptians to worship them as gods. This is important. So again, you have this entire Greek mythology, this Greek history that is scrapped. And it's the same thing we've seen, as I talked about, with the Romans. The Romans had the Caesars. Once again, when the Romans conquered Rome, they declared themselves as gods. The Caesars were equal to gods and they wanted to be worshipped. So here you have the Romans, you have the Greeks trying to get black folks to worship them as gods. The Caesars were considered gods on earth or what have you. So once the fall of, the Greek Empire happened at the hands of the Romans, as I talked about before, the Romans completely scrapped themselves as the Caesars, being in power. So you had the Caesars, you had Rome, you had all this history. We know about Roman mythology, piggybacking off of Greek mythology and off Egyptian mythology, so on and so forth. But the Romans had their, their culture. They had the Caesars. They had the way they was ruling things. We know about Capitol on the Hill and the way things were structured. They scrapped everything. They scrapped it all to follow Hellenization and to continue Hellenization. That is deep. That is important to understand. Not only that, they piggybacked off of the Old Testament, the Torah, and gave us the New Testament with Jesus Christ. Think about this. Then you had a Pope and you had a Constantine, and everything changed over to Christianity, and everything changed once the Romans or the Greco-Roman era happened. Everything changed. The cultures changed. Important. Then we get Jesus. And then Jesus looks like Serapis. And then we have this worship of a man that looks like somebody who we know and can prove the Greeks were trying to force on African people, the worship of Serapis. So when we put this information out, we have clear proof. This is not something that is believed, that is proven. We have the statues. They are dated. These statues, Serapis, existed long before Christianity. So you have this worship of this man, and then he just so happens to look like Jesus Christ when they start giving us the image of Jesus Christ, which once again, Jesus Christ's image is of a white man. So here we have again more proof of them trying to force the image of a white man on us. But this time things were different because the Roman Empire became strong and they spread. Slavery happened, indoctrination happened, and there it was. You have generational indoctrination to where you start indoctrinating the kids, and then the culture spreads, so on and so forth. And this is what happened. But if you don't go back and look at the history of where this began, you're not going to understand why it's important to look at Jesus critically and then look at Serapis and understand what happened. So this is important because we have to look at all the facts and all the information. This is not hard to do. Who gave us the original book, the original Bible? It's not Moses. We don't have no proof of Moses giving us anything. We don't have the original books. The first writings, manuscripts we have of what we call the Torah, Old Testament, Pentateuch, or what have you, it's coming from the Greeks, and it's written in Greek. Just so happens nobody was speaking Hebrew around this time, but supposedly it was some scattered Hebrews or Jews around that were enslaved or being enslaved by the Greeks. And the Greeks were able to get them to do a translation of the Hebrew law into Greek. So the story goes. And that's how we get the Septuagint, which is in Greek, which then all of a sudden they disappeared because supposedly the Greeks set them free according to the letters of Orestes, but also supposedly they were being captive in Babylon or scattered in so many different stories, none of which we can prove. But, against the proven actions of the Greeks, we can say, they let these people go and worship the way they was worshiping, when it doesn't make sense that they would let these people go, and why they would want to give up all this gold and give up slaves for a translation of a Hebrew law that they're not going to follow. But at the same time, they're forcing Hellenization on the indigenous people. See, it doesn't fit. The only thing that fits is that this stuff, they made it up. Plain and simple. Talked about the Hebrew is Greek book by Joseph Yehuda. We talked about how when you go there, we can see there's no, Jewish artifacts, no Hebrew artifacts. We can't find these people. I talked about Hecataeus and talked about Diodorus Siculus and how they're basically telling us, or Diodorus is telling us, these people did not exist. We can't find nothing on them before the 4th century BCE, really before the 3rd century BCE. Everything is all, bullshit. It's all, pseudo. So again, anybody comes to you and say we have this proof or evidence of Jews existing before the 3rd or 4th century BCE, none of it has been proven 100%, as I talked about in the last video. And we have all the evidence on that. And we have not just the Jews in Israel and in the paper and the Haaretz in Israel talking about all these forgeries and fakes out there of these so-called artifacts that supposedly gives validity to the Bible. They're all bullshit. None of it has been proven. What has been proven, what is real and legit, is the statue of Serapis and the fact that he existed long before Jesus and Christianity. And it's proof that they were giving us a God in their image to worship. So by the Greeks, one, being the first to give us a Torah written in Greek, and somehow the language of Hebrew is dead and gone. And then everybody who is claiming to be Jews is using the Septuagint, all the way up to St. Jerome, who gave us the Latin Vulgate and Vetus Latina. And he basically, because at this point, by the 500, 400 AD, the manuscripts are gone, supposedly. We got the Syriac Peshitta, and we have the fragments of the Septuagint, which St. Jerome supposedly, using his own knowledge of Hebrew, or what he says is Hebrew, completely, almost completely rewrote the Septuagint when he gave us the Latin Vulgate. So it's a lot of, craziness in that whole thing. But the fact remains that he couldn't have done none of that without a Greek Septuagint. And then we have the Greek New Testament. So everything again points to the Greeks. And then we have this connection with the Greek, who is, they say he's Egyptian, but we know the Greeks made him up. Serapis, which is the Egyptian god Apis the bull, and Osiris, who is also represented by a bull, to give us Serapis. But this is the Greeks who have done this. So again, it's something you got to look at. I don't understand why people have a hard time with just doing a little bit of research and seeing, what Serapis is all about. And it's not a coincidence that he looks like Jesus. So a lot of times we see Jesus and people say, oh, it's Caesar Borgata. But we got to understand, that image has been around for a long time, and we can go back far. The point is not so much of, who he is or what have you. It's the fact that we have proof that they were trying to force a white God on us, or they did force a white God on us to worship before Christianity. That's the main point. That's the point of all this. So again, you have to look at this and say to yourself, well, if they try to do this, or if they did this, before Christianity, and then all of a sudden we get this Jesus that looks just like this guy, then who's to say that this is not what's happening with Christianity? And that's exactly what I'm saying. That's what happened. So you have this Jesus Christ, and we know, for people who conscious, represents the sun. So again, we have this proof in history of them giving us white deities to worship, and us giving that energy to these white deities and propelling these people to be in a position of power that they are in. And it's one of the reasons why they're still in power, because you have billions of people all around the world giving their energy to this white image and making them as if it's everything, black folks mainly. So you can't, for the people who talked about primary sources and having this information on that is out there, but you can't, ask for primary sources on this and then ignore the fact that there's absolutely no primary sources for the Bible. There's absolutely no primary sources for talking snakes and donkeys, or for Samson having superhuman strength because his hair is long, for Jonas, grown ass man surviving 3 days in the fish. Please give me a primary source for any of this stuff. But they ask us for primary sources on stuff that is proven. Anything I put out is not going to be something that is, questioned. It's something that is substance, that has proof. There's validity to everything that I put out. So rapists is something you can look into. And as I said, I've seen him in the London Museum. I've seen him in the Cairo Museum. He's in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. You can see the statues, and you can see a lot of them. I mean, most of them, he looks like Jesus. So, it's not hard to figure out what happened and to figure out what was going on. We got deeper into the why in other videos, why it's important. Because again, as I said, it's important for you to understand what is so, special, what is so big about the, instilling or the indoctrination or coming up with mythologies, with stories. You have to really look at this. And again, I say critical thinking kills all this shit. You have to think critically. You have to go back and look at the Egyptians. What did the Egyptians do? They gave us mythology. They gave us stories, right? We have all Egyptian mythologies. We have the story of Osiris and Isis and everything like that, all to tell us about something else, right? So we know that the Greeks wanted to take over Egypt for the gold, supposedly the knowledge, or what have you. What did they do once they conquered? The same thing. They gave us mythologies. They gave us a religion to follow. So it's like, okay, well, why not just, take over everything? They didn't do that. They instilled a religious belief. Same thing. As I said, this is the reason for the wars of the Diadochi, because a lot of them did not understand why did we, go through all these years of war. So many people died just for us to come up with Hellenization and the spread of religion. So it's crazy. Same thing with the Romans. Ask yourself that question. As I said, you have the Caesars, you have a Roman Senate, you have a structure and a whole culture that these people were following for a long time. And they conquered so much just to scrap it all when the Greco-Roman era happened, when they conquered Greece and they created Christianity, and then everything is right there. So again, you have them conquering the Greeks. And what did they do? They completely changed everything to give us a religion, to give us mythologies and stories. Only this time they want to say that these mythologies or these stories are actually true and real. But the point is, what is so important about giving us a book and a story with, mythologies and stuff that seem like allegories and stories and so on and so forth, which they are. What is so important about all that? And we got into this in, Greek mythology and meditation and ancient history videos, all those videos we talked about what that is about. I went into this deeply in the agenda about why religion had to be instilled and why the old ways was changed and why everything is, different, why they went out and conquered so much. And they had to get rid of the old world. When you look at the establishment of Christianity under the English Empire, under Rome as well, this was them basically going out and getting rid of everything that had to do with the old world. All the old ways, all that old knowledge that was real knowledge, that had real substance to it. They outlawed it. They called it witchcraft or, paganism, or called you a wizard and so on and so forth. Philosophers were basically burnt at the stake. They were hung. They were killed. They were tracked down. Mathematicians, scientists, physicists, all those people who were doing all those real studies were basically considered evil, and they had to flee. And a lot of them had to basically stop doing what they was doing, because anything that had anything to do with the universe or real power and energy was scrapped and basically replaced with biblical religion. And they crammed all the knowledge for themselves, and they held all the knowledge for themselves and talked about it in secret societies and put it to us and basically put it in the Bible, really. But for us to not understand, but for them to understand. So it's a lot of deep stuff, but I wanted to really harp on that point. You got to look at the fact that Serapists existed, long before Christianity, and that he didn't exist until the fall of Kemet. So if this was a real God for them, if they really believed in this God, why didn't they worship him, during the time that they were in power, or, before the fall of Kemet, which tells us what they was doing. They were trying to push him on us. So you got to look at this, and you got to question all these Moses and so-called prophets and so on and so forth that they show us as being white, and question the fact that, they try to push religion on us and been pushing religion on us for thousands of years using prophets or deities or what have you that's in their image. Talk about this all the time, how all these other, races of people and cultures have gods in their image. And we know all the gods of the ancient world were black, and that changed. So we got into all this, but for the people who asked about Serapis, I wanted to put this out and to get you to critically think about that. He existed long before Jesus. We have proof that this is a white man that tried to force on us, or did force on us, to worship. Got to question Jesus and look at it being a continuation of that, especially when you have the whole Greco-Roman connection and how, it all fits. So I don't want to take up too much time. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Make sure you guys take advantage of those sales. They're going to be gone. Again, I have the Stock Market 3 coming out. We have a couple things coming out, but definitely take advantage of these sales. Get on it this weekend. It's going to be gone. Especially if you're super lucky to be able to get into the lifetime membership. Get into it now. It's going to be gone. The new site is going to be crazy. The new app is going to be crazy. Definitely take advantage of everything that's out. And see you guys next video.